Good evening and welcome to Two on the Aisle. Tonight we are doing we didn't have time to get to the studio show or something like that.
It snowed yes, and there was a lot of snow.
Snow, there's slush, and we have
This is
plans.
the at-home.
Yes, this is the at-home.
We have two on the couch tonight instead of two on the aisle.
But the couch is on the aisle. Okay, well there have been a lot happening since we last saw you.
Indeed.
And we're going to start with one of my wife's favorite plays, and in my opinion, one of Oscar Wilde's best, maybe his best. And this production is special, partially because it has Brian Bedford, who directed, but also because Brian Bedford is playing the Ant.
Lady Bracknell.
Yes.
He gave himself the best part.
He did. He did. Now, I've seen him many times. He is, I think, my favorite verse actor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of course, mine is from Labette, but we won't go into
Right,
that.
well,
Yes.
you know, if Brian Bedford had been in Labette, maybe I would have liked it better.
Okay. Maybe.
You know, I've just, to me, when I think Brian Bedford, I think period piece is where he has long hair and he talks in verse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a period piece.
And he has long hair.
And he has long hair, although normally he wears it, you know, down. But he doesn't talk in verse. But the interesting thing is, this really isn't the leading role here.
Well, I'm going to say something because
Yes.
I think are we assuming that everybody knows the story of the importance of
No, we're not.
Ernest?
No, we
all right.
absolutely are not.
Because when you say it's not the leading role, the way he directed it was, I think everybody was vamping until he came in the beginning. So I think he directed it as if it were the leading role. But do you want to tell the story?
Well, okay.
Your favorite.
How do we begin? We have two men. One is dating a girl, and he has taken on the identity of Ernest because he has the swinging bachelor life in the city in the late 1800s, but he has a country home where he has a young woman who is his ward, and he wants to make sure that he puts on a respectable face.
Mm-hmm.
So he's invented his evil brother Ernest.
Well, not evil, but his
Wayward.
wayward. That's a good word.
Ernest, okay. Then we have his friend,
Algernon.
yes, Algernon, who also has a place in the city,
Mm-hmm.
and he has his friend, imaginary friend, Bunbury, is he?
Banbury.
Banbury.
He goes out to the country to Banbury, yes. That's
Right.
his.
Anytime he wants to get away from his aunt. And essentially, now Banbury does not exist. He's just a convenient, he's the quintessential sick friend.
Mm-hmm.
Now one day, Algie comes to visit his friend Ernest in the country, meets Ernest's ward, and falls in love with her instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, both these women want to marry men named Ernest.
Well, that's the wonderful conceit of this whole thing is Cicely, who's just a marvelously bubble-headed girl, writes in her diary that she will marry a man named Ernest. She just makes it up out of whole cloth for some reason, and so
Right.
that's the way the play revolves around that. It also revolves around the fact that John or Jack Worthing is a foundling and
Right.
does not have any background.
He's the one who
of that
masquerades
kind.
as Ernest.
Yes, the one who masquerades as Ernest does not have any kind of background, and was actually found in a handbag
Yes.
in Paddington Station.
Yes. And through this comedy of errors and some, frankly, it could only happen in the theater coincidence, it all turns out happily ever after.
But the wonderful role in this is Lady
Provided
Bracknell.
you're allowed to marry your cousin.
Yes, well, yeah, you still can still marry your cousin. People still do that all the time.
Okay. First cousin?
I don't know about first cousins, but that's another story.
Yes.
um,
We won't get into it.
We won't get into that. But Lady Bracknell has been played by men before, and
Yes.
that's interesting.
Oh, I saw down in the village.
Quentin Crisp.
It was I think it was an all-male production.
Oh, well.
And it was the witchiest.
I would imagine, yes.
Oh
I would
boy.
imagine,
You
yes.
go down to the village, see the kind of cast they can find down there.
I
It
think you
was
did fine.
hilarious. Totally.
So,
This is a more traditional Ernest, not quite as loose as the one I saw down
something we
there.
need to say about Brian Bedford
Yes.
is that he comes from the Canadian stage tradition. He works all the time on the Shaw Festival and
Yes.
and Canadian festivals, and so there's a wonderful background and history of, and becomes to us all the time and works with us,
Right.
as his credits show.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure how much directing he's done before this. I don't know if he's ever directed in New York before.
I believe this is the first time he's ever been
in New York
played a female role, however.
It might very well be, I don't know. But I do think he did a wonderful job. But I do think that the play, for me, It's usually the pace is faster
Yes.
than I was used to. And so I thought that it all picked up once he got on stage, and I thought maybe he was somehow, as I say, vamping until he got there. So I don't know.
That could be. It was a good production of Ernest. Not the best one I've ever
It was an Ernest
seen.
production
Yes,
of Ernest.
well, that's a very good way. My wife, who was a major Oscar
Yeah.
Wilde fan, I think this is her favorite
Uh-huh.
play, had a wonderful time.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it, not as much as I expected to. I had very high expectations.
I did too.
And while I don't think you'll be disappointed, I was expecting to leave on cloud 9
Right.
and, maybe cloud 6 or cloud 7 on it. I mean, it was a good production. It's got some great actors.
On a scale of cloud 1 to cloud 9, yes, that's very true.
Paxton Whitehead,
Mhm.
who plays a local minister.
He got
With a cast.
applause when people didn't necessarily know who anybody else was, but when they saw Paxton Whitehead coming in a secondary role, he got applause. I
Right.
thought
Well,
that was very funny.
the thing I won't say he was wasted
Mhm.
because he did
It's
a
a
good job,
small
but
role.
I've just seen him and I just know what a talented actor he is, and this isn't really a role that lets him go get anywhere near his full
Right. What
potential.
the role was he played the minister,
Yes.
and
Who has a past,
yes, but also the one
as does everyone. I
playing
think. But-
opposite him is Dana Ivey.
Yes, now
as Miss
Dana
Prism.
Ivey definitely yes.
As
She
Miss
is
Prism.
She is the ward's teacher, the
Right.
young woman's teacher, guard, babysitter.
And she also has a past.
And
Everybody has a
yeah,
past in this play.
I think except for Lady.
Except for Cicely, who's just a sweet young girl.
Yes,
that
except for
no-
Cicely.
no-
Except does Lady Bracknell? Yeah, well, she
Well,
sort
yes,
of.
she does.
She sort of. Has,
She
yes,
applies.
Sort of.
Yes, yes.
Sort of. We don't really get into
But
it.
Brian Bedford delivers those wonderful roles. The thing about losing one's parents is
Yes.
losing two is
And
just
and
careless.
he does beautifully. You really
Yeah.
do believe he's a
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Now the thing that I just learned about this is that it's going to be extended until July at the
so obviously it is doing well.
yes, at what used to
The
be called
American Airlines.
the American Airlines is still
Yes.
called the American Airlines Theater,
Still
right?
is, yes. Now we actually very quickly before we move on, we actually do have a couple of scenes from Ernest.
Ah,
So let's see how important it
How
is
fun.
to be Ernest.
Health is the primary duty of life. Ignorance is like a delicate, exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom is gone. To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. I'm not in favor of long engagements. They give people the opportunity of finding out each other's character before marriage. Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that.